welcome to a new week, another week, a rainy day, a rainy Monday. Movement Not Miracles today. I'm Anna from Eat, Move, Be Happy, and Movement Not Miracles is all about giving you some ideas to move your joints and keep your joints healthy, look after your posture, things that you can do easily and at home. Rather than sitting still or staying in the same position for long periods of time, which we are prone to do. So a bit of an all-over session today, just to set you up for the week, and it may be that over the weekend you've been a little bit more active than you have been during the week, so let's see if we can just make sure everything is healthy, mobile and ready for the rest of the day. So we're going to start with shoulders and just keeping, I'm pleased to say, for those of you that have been checking in with Movement Not Miracles for a little while, my back's okay, touch wood, where's some wood? My upper back appears to be behaving itself at the moment and is not as achy as it's been. So clearly this is paying off, little and often, that's what we say. So we're going to start off with shoulders. So you can do this seated or standing. Hello bubble lady, I can see the bubbles flying. I can't read who's here, but I can see that there are people here, so hello everybody. Standing nice and tall or sitting nice and tall with your weight evenly distributed throughout your left and right side, and just shrug your shoulders all the way up and then down and back, and as you move your shoulders round, think of squeezing your shoulder blades together and really broadening across your collarbones. So shoulders come forward, up, back and down. This one's just really good for, gets your shoulder blades moving, and they should move, which are good for your shoulder movement and your shoulder flexibility, but also to help release some of the tension that we get in our upper back, muscles above your shoulders and into your neck, because as human beings we tend to sit very round-shouldered and hunch forward, which is not good for our posture and our upper back. So just rolling your shoulders helps remind your shoulder blades that they do move and that it's okay for them to move, and it just releases some of the tension in the muscles that are working to move those shoulder blades. So that's all good. And then we're going to take that into shoulder dislocates. So you can do this without a strap. If you don't have a strap handy, you can take this move into a nice big arm move, so you're moving your shoulders back and round. Using a strap is better for me because it helps me get into the right position for moving my shoulders. I can cheat otherwise. So I'm using a yoga belt, yoga strap. You can use a dressing gown cord or any other belt, something that you can resist against and form the position. Again, make sure that your weight is evenly distributed and keeping your shoulders down now, so we don't want shoulders hunched up. So starting with your shoulders in a good position, so think of back and down, shoulder blades pinching together, so you've got that nice breadth across your chest. And then we're going to move our arms back, keeping our elbows straight and really squeezing the shoulder blades as you go all the way over the top. Now, it's a controlled move, and there shouldn't be any pain in the joints as you move your arms over. Now, what can sometimes happen is that you get quite stiff and your elbows start to bend in order to get the belt over the back, and I don't want to happen. So just widen your hands. I know you can't see both hands, but widen your hands on the belt, and to get your shoulders to work a little bit harder, if you shorten the distance between your hands, there we go, as you're getting to that point there, so it's at the extreme range of the movement, so I feel a nice big stretch in my chest, but I'm also really squeezing my shoulder blades on the back of my chest and my shoulders are down. I don't know whether you can see that because of my hair. So we're not scrunching, that's exaggerated, but we're not scrunching our shoulders up. So you want your shoulders back and down, and then just rotate round. And this one in particular, it's one of my favourites. It really does help my upper back and release some of the tension. Helps my shoulder mobility and releases some of the tension in the muscles in my upper back. So it's a good go-to move if my shoulders feel particularly tight. Right, sticking with shoulders, but moving to a stretch across the front of our shoulders and into our neck. So we're going to do the one where you cradle your arm behind. So one arm comes round your back and you're supporting that arm with your other hand. Now for that to happen to start off with, we want your shoulders in the right position. So we don't want shoulders hunched up. So you could think of back and down to start off with, and then put your arm across your back. Now for me, you might be able to see that my right shoulder's sticking up, and that's just my right shoulder. So you should be working to keep your shoulder blades relaxed and down, broad across your collarbones, so broad across here on both sides. And then you're just going to lean your neck, your head away to stretch through your neck. Now, I'm stretching through the front of my left shoulder across here, so I'm moving my head to the right and keeping your head in that position. If you look up to the far corner, look level, and then look down, you just change the position of that stretch as you move through your neck, and then head back up to the middle. Okay, release your arms, bit of a tactical waggle in your shoulders, and then set your shoulders again, nice posture, and do the other arm. So this time it's my right arm, and again, for the more observant amongst you, it will look like the shoulder's sticking forwards a bit. Can you see? That's just the way it is with me. I'm afraid it isn't going to go back. I'm working hard to squeeze my shoulder blade on the back of my chest and to get that shoulder back and down. And we do what we can do. So holding that position, I've got a nice stretch across the front of my shoulder, and then I'm leaning my head to the left this time. Again, it's a gentle move. We're not forcing that stretch. And then look up, look level, and look down. And again, that is a very subtle move. We're not moving massively. And then back up. And then a bit of a tactical waggle. So you should have felt the stretch across the front of your shoulders and into your chest and down the side of your neck with that one, which is looking after the front of our shoulders and rather than the back. Right, what is next? So you can do this one seated or standing, and I'm going to show you seated. So you could do this whilst you are sitting at your desk. As ever, my swizzly chair, sit at the edge of your chair so that you are safe, but away from the backrest, and sitting nice and tall. So weight evenly distributed between your left and your right bottom bone, and sit nice and tall as if somebody is pulling you up vertically from a rope through the crown of your head. So we're not sitting like this, which is what can happen. So we're sitting nice and tall, nice straight back with our shoulders back and down. And then you're just going to cross your arms over the front of your body as if you're giving yourself a bit of a hug. So, and holding on to, keeping that position, we're just going to rotate. So you're going to bend down to one side, bend forwards through your upper back, over to the left, like you're drawing a big circle with the top of your head. So there isn't much movement. We're not bending through the whole of our body. again, that's not wrong, you're just going to get movement in a different place. We're aiming for upper back movement, so our upper thoracic region. So the lower part of our body we're going to stabilise using our core, our tummy muscles, and we're just going to rotate through and think of the upper back, but also think of every single millimetre. So as you lean back, can you lean back a tiny bit more? So it's a nice slow controlled move, and then we're going to go back the other way. So it's quite a subtle mobility exercise, this one, but I quite like it. And it's so easy to do whilst you're sitting at your desk. And it just gets some movement through all of those muscles and the vertebrae in your upper back. Right, side bend. And this is definitely my favourite. And I've missed Get Moving this morning because I had a meeting. How inconsiderate. So I haven't done any side bends this morning yet. So these are definitely my favourites. So I'm going to show you sitting down this time, but you can do it standing. So again, sitting on the edge of your chair, nice and tall. So we're sitting tall and shoulders back and down, and we're going to reach. I'm actually going to sit a little bit further on my chair because my wheels are starting to wheel. In fact, I'm actually going to do it standing up. Because I know you might find it funny if I scoot across the floor and end up on my bottom, but I wouldn't. So I'm going to do it standing. But if you're seated on a chair that hasn't got wheels, then you can still do this one seated. So I'm going for, without arm extension to start off with, and we're just going to gradually build up the move. As Kerry would say, big moves are good moves, and we're going for as much bend through the spine as we can get. A couple more each side. And make sure, as we bend to the side, we stay in the same plane, so we're not bending forwards like that or sticking your belly out. We stay nice and neutral and stay in that side plane. Right, so now we're going to introduce reaching up with one arm, if we can. And what I want you to think of to start off with is reach tall with that arm and then reach over. So we've got a nice big stretch through the side, and I think of sticking that hip that way and lifting my rib cage up that way whilst reaching down with that arm. And then the other arm, reach up first and then all the way over. Oh, my tummy's just done the most massive rumble. So apologies if you heard that. Reach up first and then over to the side. I'm hungry, I need some lunch. Right. Seated twists, so we do need to sit down for this one. So sitting on safely on the edge of your chair, and what we're aiming to do is you grab hold of one thigh with one arm and then reach towards the back of the chair. Remember, sitting nice and tall, and each breath out, see if you can twist round a tiny bit more. So feet should be flat on the floor, and you can pull with this arm and pull with the arm behind you. So we'll come back to the first side because second time is always better. Well, let's come round to this side first. Nice and tall, sitting nice and tall. Right, back round to this side. We might get a little bit more movement this time. So sitting nice and tall before you move and twist through. And each breath out, see if you can go a tiny bit further round. And the same on the other side. That actually feels really good. See if you can get your chest all the way around. You may find that you can move further around than me. My back isn't that bendy, but that's okay. You can do what you can do. And then we're just going to do a little bit of work on hips, just to finish off. So if you're seated, pull one knee up towards your chest and let the leg go down. You can do this one standing as well. So we're just getting a little bit of movement through our hips. The danger is we sit in this set position, so particularly your hip flexors can get really tight. These are the muscles in the front of your hips that actually lift your legs up, but they end up being really short and set in one position. And our hips are a ball and socket joint, and they move through 3 different planes, a bit like our shoulders. And the danger is we just don't move them, and so they get stiffer. And then if your hips are stiff, that can cause problems in your lower back. It can cause problems in your knees. So keeping everything more mobile in the full range of movement is actually really useful. It's a really good idea. And I guarantee that most of us could do more flexibility and mobility work than we do. Another hip one, which is a really easy one to do, standing if you can. So the similar sort of move, so you've lifted your leg up and now you just swizzle your hip round. So your knee comes up high, and this is encouraging the hip to move through its fuller range of movement. And then you can do it back the other way, so out and in. So out first, up and in. So you're just encouraging that hip joint to move. And the same on the other side. Oh, I need to let go of the chair though. So up, out and down. If you're seated, you can still encourage your hip to move through the full range. You might not get through the full range because of your sitting position, but you can encourage it to move more than just forwards and down. Up and round. One more. And then we're just going to finish with a glute stretch, which we can do seated. So again, ankle sitting nice and tall, weight evenly distributed, ankle onto our thigh, and just gently encourage that knee to roll down to the floor. So you should feel some movement in your hip to encourage that to happen, and then to increase the stretch in the muscle in the outside of your hip, if you just lean forwards a little bit. You don't have to lean forwards much, and lean forwards as if you've got a ball, a netball. We'll call it a netball. In the front of your lap, and you're just rolling down over the top of it. So we're not just collapsing down into that stretch. And keep breathing. Don't forget to breathe, that's actually quite important. And then swap legs. So again, sitting tall. If you have more flexibility in your hip, you might be able to get your knee a little bit lower towards the ground. Do what you can do. As long as you can feel a little bit of movement and you can feel some stretch in the outside of your hip, that's absolutely fine. And we're aiming to increase that movement a little, and then just lean forwards a little bit to increase the stretch in the outside of your hip. Okay, so we started off with our shoulders and our neck, and we've worked our way down. So hopefully your hips feel a little bit more mobile and awake, as does your back and your shoulders. So that's our Movement Not Miracles for today. Remember, keeping mobile, keeping active is little and often. It's much better to try and keep mobile rather than not do anything and then let things stiffen up, and then you've got to build up the momentum again. And the danger is that we get our muscles get stiff and our joints get stiff, and we think, oh no, that feels uncomfortable, or that feels painful, and so we don't move at all. And then we get stiffer, so that's the worst thing that we can do. So keeping little and often, moving little and often, and keeping those joints mobile. You can be rolling your shoulders whilst you're waiting for the kettle to boil. That would be top tip for the day. Movement Not Miracles will be back tomorrow at midday, and if you might want to go and check out the website. I was just trying to think what I was going to say next then. Check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com. Eat Move Be Happy is an online wellbeing resource with lots of ideas for you to look after your physical and mental well-being. So it is a lot more than the peer support group. The peer support group on Facebook is one part of our wellbeing community. Go and check out the website because there's loads more information and resource on there for you. There are different subscription levels, so you can choose the package that most suits you, from anything to do with exercise, ideas for exercising more and differently, to eating more healthily, to looking after your mental health, ideas to boost your mental health and well-being, and loads of ideas around well-being in general, stuff that you can learn. So go and check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Hopefully don't get too wet, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.